much, Heather. Nice to see so many familiar faces again, face-to-face instead of in all the little boxes in my home study. It's quite an improvement. For those that... have we got the slide up yet? No, there we go. For those of you that haven't come across me, I'm Ben Shirley. I'm director and co-founder at Salsa Sound. Most of you have probably heard Rob, my colleague, talking about some of the software developments we've done over the last couple of years. So I'm going to bring you up to date with what we've done over the last, well, kind of January through September, I think it was, over this year. So just a very quick update. Mpeg-H, that's our software, which is AI-driven real-time automation software. So we take in all the microphones around the pitch, around the field of play, the crowd, the commentators and so on, and create multiple output formats simultaneously. So stereo, 5.1, 5.1.4, binaural, all at the same time to various loudness standards, all channel-based formats up to this point. And then Mpeg-H met Mpeg-H audio, or object-based audio. So Mpeg-H, as you're all probably aware, is... I'm walking away from the microphone, aren't I? I'm used to pacing around when I'm talking, that's the problem. So Mpeg-H is object-based audio format that allows immersive audio, but also personalization, and there's a heavy emphasis on the personalization. So that might be alternate language. In the context of sport, it might be the biased commentator, the home or away commentator, the home or away crowd even, things like that. So giving you options in terms of your audio presentation. The interesting thing about it is that the user menu at the viewer end on the TV is driven by the metadata, which is set within the authoring tool. So we set out with, oh no, not there yet. There we go. So we set out to integrate the Mpeg-H authoring tools into our automated mix software. The aim of this is to make it, there's a lot of fear, or at least anticipation among broadcasters about introducing object-based audio and personalization. And we've only just got used to doing 5.1, and now it's 5.1.4, and we've got to do all this extra stuff. So the idea of this is to make it as simple as possible. And we created an interface which I think certainly lots of stages during it, every time we kept stopping and saying, okay, can we make this easier? Can we make this simpler for the end user all the way through? So the idea is that the input is all the microphones from a sport event. That's around the field of play, the crowds, multiple commentators and so on. The output is authored object-based audio stream, in this case in Mpeg-H audio format, ready to be encoded for broadcast. And the idea is automating this entire process, so we went through it. This was a collaboration with Fraunhofer IIS, who we worked with. We started talking about this about 5 years ago, but essentially January through to September, we worked on this fairly intensively and demoed it live, running live at IBC in September. So now I'm just going to run a short video of the interface working so I can show you how easy it is to create fully authored Mpeg-H audio automated. So yes, it works, great. So here's our normal output groups. We've got a binaural one for YouTube, a couple of 5.1 ones with different channels. But here I'm creating a new output group, which is an Mpeg-H output group. So we'll give a reference format. And that just creates an output group in the same way as the channel-based ones that we had before. But when I highlight it, this is essentially our authoring area. Whenever we highlight on the left, we've got our authoring area here. So we can set up different components, whether objects or channels. We can set up different presets for user personalization and so on. And setting up the output group and adding components is exactly the same way as we do with the normal output groups. We're just adding these subgroups by dragging them down to the Mpeg-H output group. But in this case, we're telling the Mpeg-H output group whether it's channel-based, whether it's object-based, depending on how much interactivity we want to give to the user. So there we've added some pitch mix, automated AI-driven pitch mix, some crowd. We could have multiple crowds in there if we wanted to, and we've got an English and German commentary. So if I highlight the Mpeg-H audio output group there, suddenly this is our authoring tools, and we've got our components in there already, and we've got a default preset, but we haven't got any components in the preset. It's silence at the viewer end at the moment. So we can just start adding those different components into that default preset. So we've got pitch and crowd in there already. This is already automatically mixed. We don't have to put any extra effort in here. And then we can start thinking about adding some personalization. So the most straightforward one is probably an alternate language. We want to do it in English, we want to do it in German, and we don't want to produce two completely separate 5.1.4 programs to go out. So we add switch groups here as a component, and then we can add those components, those two commentaries, into the switch group. And this means that at the viewer end, there's going to be a menu option where they can choose whether they're listening in English or German. And we're just sending these as separate audio objects. So we've got our switch group set up in there now. We can add that switch group into our default preset, and the viewers at home now have pitch crowd. They have a default commentary, which may be English, maybe German, you decide as the producer, and we've got the option to change that commentary. We can create another preset in there. So here I'm going to create like a fan experience preset with no commentary, but I want some enhanced crowd and maybe exaggerated ball kicks and all this kind of thing, like you're in the best seat of the house, very cinematic. And we can just add in those component members into the no commentary, the new preset. And now the viewer's got another menu. They've got two options at the bottom of the screen when they call up the menu. They can have the default, which gives you English and German. They can have the no commentary option. And the levels of the components in each of these presets is determined entirely separately. So I can give it some more crowd. I could have a different crowd in there if I wanted to. I could have more pitch and so on. Or if, for the switch group, they're objects. So we've got a little bit more user gain that we can offer the user, although it's constrained by what the producer wants the user to be able to change. You don't want anyone to hear the rubbish that some of the crowd covers up. Okay, so that's essentially set up a default preset, which gives us a choice between English and German languages, another preset, which gives us a different set of levels, but just pitch and commentary and so on. All of that's automated. You can stand back and walk away from it now. So hopefully that gives you a very nice, quick overview of what we've been doing. Definitely thanks to Fraunhofer for a really fruitful collaboration. We're currently working with Dolby as well, so you can expect an Atmos integration into Mix-R over the coming months as well. Thanks very much for having us.